Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode 4 of Financial Discipline Strategies on our page, and wherein we invite various business leaders and interact with them to understand how they really keep control of their finance division and how they manage their finances, which is so important for the success of any enterprise. In this series, we today have Ms. Aditi Pasari, who is the director at Gulshan Polyols Limited. We welcome you, Aditi, at this forum. Thank you so much for coming. And today we will discuss various things about how she manages the finance division at her company and how what decisions she takes and what all indicators she go through in the finance so that she is able to do justice to the financial management in her company. Just a brief about the company before we go into the details. Gulshan Polyols Limited is a NSE and BSE listed company. It is a market leader in most of its products categories and majorly deals in starch, sugars, and calcium carbonate, which are used in toothpaste, sweeteners, paints, paper, and various other items. It has 8 manufacturing locations in India and they export their products to over 35 countries across 3 continents. Its name has been recorded in Limca Book of Records for setting up first on-site plant for a paper manufacturing company. Aditi, before we proceed and I start asking you questions about finance, please elaborate if I have missed anything in the intro.
Hello, Rajat. Thank you for inviting me. You almost covered it all, but a little more update which I can make on behalf of my company. We are into manufacturing of sorbitol, which is actually a artificial sweetener, and we are one of the largest manufacturers of sorbitol in the country. Apart from that, we have also set up a distillery in Chindwara, Madhya Pradesh. From there, recently, just a few months back, we have started producing and supplying ethanol, ENA, country liquor, and also we have got into production of hand sanitizers.
Okay. And what all these products like, because this is a technical term, the calcium carbonate and starch, sugar, not very common. So how is it used in the products? Is it a raw material to all these items which I already told about?
Yes, so this is we are a completely B2B company. We are raw material suppliers to many industries. Calcium carbonate and sorbitol are raw materials for oral care. In a very common man's language, I will explain to you. The sweetness in toothpaste comes from sorbitol. So
Okay.
in a 100-gram toothpaste, we will see about 60 gram is calcium carbonate, which comes from us, and 20 to 25 grams is sorbitol, which again comes from us. So we supply to all the oral care manufacturers in the country, starting from Unilever, Colgate, Dabur, Patanjali, etc. Apart from that, it's also used in paints. It's used in pharma industry. The sweetness in your cough syrups comes from sorbitol again. They do not add sugar. So they use sorbitol to bring in sweetness in the cough syrups. It's also, we also manufacture starch powder, that's maize starch powder, which is used in the paper industry. So we do the paper industry grade starch powder, which goes in for semi-craft paper. So yes, these are some of the applications.
Yeah, and I missed out to mention that Aditi is also the chairperson at Young Business Leader Forum at PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Uh, I hope I am correct, Aditi.
Yes, thank you so much for the
Yeah,
introduction.
yeah, thank you. So, starting the discussion, I would just like to know, Aditi, that how important this division of finance is for you as part of your management, how deeply you go into this division. I understand that sales, marketing, purchase, all these are really very important or part of any organization. But how much role does finance has to play in any organization, particularly with your organization? I would like to ask.
Uh, for my organization or for any organization, I think finance is the backbone of any company. It is the function which integrates all the other functions together, right from production to sales to collection to working capital management and to purchase. It is all a circle which needs to be completed, and somewhere finance links all the entire circle together. So this is how I would say it is the most integral part of any company.
Right. Absolutely right, and very well put. And just want to know then, how do you regularly keep control of the various activities in finance division? How do you take the reporting from your team? What all you do? Just want to know that.
So we are extremely particular about the monthly profit and loss analysis, which have to come to us before the 7th of every month for the previous month. And as you had introduced, we have 8 locations. We have now we have 9 locations actually, and we receive separate P&Ls from all the locations. And before the 7th, they have to be with us, and we actually review them very seriously every month, right from the cost of production to the selling prices to the raw material prices to the bringing the yields, the efficiency. So everything is monitored through these analysis. Apart from that, we are a listed company. We do our quarterly audited balance sheets. We publish our results, so that auditing also happens. Apart from that, constantly monitoring of working capital, repayment of long-term loans, ECBs. So that kind of management is done on a regular basis.
Right. That's a really very good practice which you follow, and especially since you have various locations and compiling the data of all the locations and getting it presented before the management by 7th of the month. Is it not a very Herculean task? And is the team able to do that very consistently every month?
Yes, absolutely. It is on our desk before the 7th of every month. Of course, lots of follow-up, consistency, perseverance is a part of it. But yes, an experienced and mature team. That's what we need.
So when you review those results for every month, what are the indicators which you really see in those financials in the P and L? What are the major items which you really look into? Because normally business owners have a habit of only reviewing the top line, which is the sales. If the sales is growing, then everything is good. They feel if the sales is declining, then they feel that something is not right. So, what beyond sales you review in those results?
Top line is, of course, very, very important. That shows how much we are utilizing our capacities, our current capacities. That is a reflector of capacity utilization. Apart from that, what we are as an industry owner, we are always working on EBITDA levels. That is what is most important to us, not even the PBT, it is the EBITDA. Because EBITDA is where our efficiency is, where we can improve. PBT, below EBITDA is PBT, which according to us is depreciation and finance cost, which is not in our hands. It is statutory. So our efficiency lies in EBITDA, and norms which we fix for all our products. And whenever there is a fluctuation, then we actually go back and see where the fluctuations have come from and review each and every subheading of where the costs have fluctuated, where they have gone haywire.
Right. So you want to say that operational profits, which is earning before interest, depreciation, and amortization, is what you really look into, because interest is something which is being paid on loans, which is not in your hand, because if you have already taken the loans, then you have to bear the interest, and depreciation is something which is charged on fixed assets which already you have purchased. So the main thing which you can control in your business, or you can review, is EBITDA, which is operational profit, where your costs are increasing or decreasing. You just have to go through that. Uh,
Yes.
Apart from it, do you also review the cash flow? Because especially post Corona, cash was always a very important factor in the success of any organization. But post Corona, people have realized its importance, that how important cash is. It is very important to run the business during emergency situation which arose when the lockdown came in. So how do you review the cash flow of your business?
So right at the beginning of the month, we actually make an estimate of the payments that have to be made to our creditors, to the liabilities which are standing for us and which have to be paid in this month. We also see the repayment schedules of any long-term loans or ECBs which we may have for that month. So first, we actually list down the entire payments that have to be made, and accordingly, we fix our collection targets, we fix sale targets, which are aggressively monitored, especially during the coronavirus, the COVID pandemic. It has taught us that how aggressive follow-up can actually make a huge difference to your cash flow. So we took it up extremely, very seriously. We started doing weekly review meetings with our sales team. We started focusing greatly on collections, started doing the debtor aging analysis on a regular basis. And that's how we have managed our cash flow well.
Right. That's very important because many times, in fact, business owners keep focusing on increasing their profits, but at the same time, they don't look at the cash, increasing the cash flow also in the business, because of which the profits get stuck either in the late collections, the receivables part, or in the inventory. And having said that, you were definitely focusing on collections, but and many when I meet many business owners, they say that yes, customer is king. We need to focus on bringing highest level of client experience. But how do you manage your vendor relationships? Because vendors, I feel, are very important part in any supply chain. So and making payments to them on time is also a very important plays a really very important role in business. How do you manage your relationship with vendors?
We have actually never stopped payments of our vendors even during COVID period.
That's great.
Yes, so I feel very proud to say that that we have cleared all our creditors. As I speak today, till 30th of May, we have cleared our creditors. We have never stopped any of our creditors. Even during the lockdown, we experienced whatever payments had to be made because of our relationships. We paid. We never tried to stop it and put money in our bank. So that was never the way of doing it. In fact, we feel it is a great way of building up really strong and long-term relationships in these times with people, with your vendors, and eventually you will get the best rates from them. It is actually time to make good relationships. You give them the payment when they require it on time. You just build up your own credibility as a company, and you will get benefit of it. So we as a company have do not have this policy of stopping payments of vendors, and we have cleared their payments even during a lockdown period.
And I think you helped them when they required your help the most, because cash flow was the main challenge during the lockdown. Salaries had to be paid, various other expenses had to be incurred, and getting collection from the customer and at that time was like something really very a dream coming true for them. And moving further, I just want to know that various reports keep coming to you. You say that before 7th, you get all the data from various locations. But you would agree with me that if the source data is not correct, like if the entries, the accounting system is not set right, then the data, the output which you are getting in the reports would not be beneficial for decision making. So how do you make sure that the people who are in the accounts team, although they are working efficiently, managing their duties, but the data input and all the accounting systems are working right in your business? What systems have you put in to control all this?
For most of our for all our functions, we have a maker and checker. We actually have a three-step process. So if I talk about payments, we have a three-step process for all payments, where we have a maker, checker, and authorizer tier. So then that is one way of ensuring that no double payments are being made to any creditors or any other party. Apart from that, of course, the monthly P&Ls, which I said, are made on the plant level, but they are getting monitored at the head office level by a very mature and experienced team of professionals, our CFO and the finance heads, who are monitoring and also pinpointing where mistakes could happen, which is done on a monthly basis. Apart from that, we have internal audit team. We have quarterly internal audits. So where again we ask our internal auditor to pay a lot of focus on finance and account related issues which may have arisen, and we also have GST quarterly GST reviews, We have a GST auditor who comes and reviews our returns quarterly, monthly. So to make sure that any chances if of error are rectified and verified immediately.
Right. I think the various controls which you have mentioned are really very important for any organization, especially the internal audit, the GST audit, and the the checks by the CFO and the corporate team which is sitting there. All these are really very important to make sure that whatever data is being put in as an input, the output is correct only when the input is correct. So the correction of input is done by all these kind of habits, and also it creates a discipline in the organization, in the people who are working in the finance division.
Yes. Apart from that, as I mentioned, we are a listed company. So for us, compliances are on our priority.
Yes, yes, yes.
So of course, we have our results are published every quarter. They are audited by statutory auditors. They're published results. So we have to make sure that they are all in place. So
Right,
we are very particular about it. Yes.
right. Okay, so these 2 months have been a very, very tough for every business, and a lot of businesses have taken various decisions to control their cost and to manage the cash. What all decisions have you taken post COVID to deal with these times?
Um, During COVID, we had to, of course, for those 45 days where the lockdown actually happened, we had to take some very hard decisions regarding some salary cuts which were taken by the top management. And we were unable to, we have paid the salaries on time, but we were not able to pay 100% salaries because people were not available. They were not there. So we had to have some kind of reduction in cost, which was very hard hitting for us as a company because that is something we have never done. So yeah, those were some hard-hitting decisions which we had to take, but that was fortunately only for 45 days. The moment in May we resumed operations, we have not gone for any kind of such cost-cutting or salary cuts to our people. We have worked the way as per our normal functioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, Aditi, any word of advice for the MSMEs to deal with these times, the challenging times of COVID?
I think it is time to bring in financial efficiency. Try to work with your own funds. Do not borrow. Borrowing is the last thing which we should look at. So it's important to improve circulation of funds, improve financial efficiency. Rigorous follow-up is required with the sales team, with the collection team. Go back and check on your vendors, see how we can negotiate, get the best deals from them, best prices from them. Everything can be renegotiated at this time because cash is king. If your collections are good, you have money in your hand, you will be able to actually get a better price from your vendors. So it is all a circle, it is all related. So work on financial efficiency. I think that is the key in these times.
Right. Thank you so much for your word of advice. Financial efficiency is something which people would realize that the importance of which the people would realize in times to come, and especially post Corona. It was already very important at every point of business, but now the realization has come in, and people will definitely work towards it. Thank you so much, Aditi, for joining us, and it was a great interaction with you.
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure.